Hey there, so this is my 6 month, I think, update with this absolute beast of a camera. This is a Blackmagic URSA Mini 12K Mini Pro. Long names with Blackmagic, as it always is. So, here's the thing. When I got this camera, I got like 6 terabytes worth of SSDs because I wanted to test it out. I wanted to know, like, is 12K worth it? Is it something that is good for cropping ability and things like that. And I found out that first of all, if you're getting this camera and if you do plan to shoot those crazy 8K, 12K resolutions, be prepared to spend, well, I don't know, 400% more on lenses because beyond 4K, I don't think that I do think that some of the lenses, most common lenses like Sigma 18 to 35 or 24 to 70, begin to fall apart. And you do need very high-end glass with this camera if you want to shoot higher resolutions. But I tested it anyway, and I found out that 4K is where I'm comfortable, with my editing setup. So I did upgrade to 4K editing monitors, and I did upgrade my computer because of it. Thanks, URSA Mini. But rolling back to 4K, I got two UHS-2 cards, and I found out an interesting quirk with this camera. And it is that when you record on two cards, and you can record on two cards with this camera, you get this interesting effect that's halving your frames, So your frames are halved. If you shot 24 frames, you're going to get 12 frame shots in each card, which Blackmagic doesn't tell you about, and Reddit is oddly silent because, like, who is using this crazy camera anyway? But anyway, yeah, you have to shoot 48 frames per second if you have dual card record option selected in the camera. I didn't know that. I found out, but it is possible to record on two cards simultaneously. It's also possible to record on an SSD and an SD card as your backup, which is phenomenal. But there's an interesting quality to B-RAW, the way it creates B-RAW. It creates a B-RAW 2, which I don't quite understand why it's creating a B-RAW 2 extension that Blackmagic Raw Player and Blackmagic software, DaVinci Resolve, can't read. So you have to rename your extensions on your backup card. So you have to manually rename from B-RAW to B-RAW, and then DaVinci will read it, and you have a backup of your footage. So interesting. And another thing is that it's pretty much better than the Blackmagic Pocket 4K, which camera I had before, and it actually prompted me to begin selling my Pocket 4K and getting a BMCC 6K because the footage from this camera is absolutely freaking-tastic for how much it costs, and it's absolutely above $10,000 image that you get from this camera. And I think that a good companion for it would be BMCC 6K, and this would be your 8 cam. So another thing is Blackmagic absolutely needs to add support for this camera. They need updates. This camera needs pixel remapping. This camera needs this silly extension in dual cards recording fixed to simple B-RAW. I don't know why they're doing that. And some of some of the improvements in the power consumption, I should say. But overall, I am incredibly happy with this camera. I think it's an absolute renegade of indie production. If you're an intermediate DP, if you're thinking between a Red Komodo and this camera, I was thinking between those two cameras, and I definitely went for this because it's just so much more functional, and there's so much more to it. But one thing are the ND filters. If you're getting a camera with ND filters, make sure that you never get any dust into it. I was silly enough to be on a documentary shoot, and the camera was kind of heavy. It is heavy. It does need an extended easy rig. You do need a more expensive easy rig to to handle this the weight of this camera, especially when the battery and the heavier lens is attached. You do need that. But what I wanted to talk about was that some of the dust got in, and I was lucky enough that it was in between the sensor glass and the back of the ND filter, so I was able to blow it out by just gently turning these ND filters. And it wasn't something like that was seen, except that if you should stop down your aperture to T like 16, they don't know see. But I was able to fix that. But the thing is, if you do get dust into it, you have to disassemble the whole camera. Which is something to keep in mind, and which is why Airy is probably not pulling the trigger on those built-in ND filters just yet. But overall, I have Velcro attached. I'm attaching my hard drive if I want to record for long periods of time. I've 3D printed an enclosure from DSLR Guide. That's amazing. A link below. And overall, I am positively, excited to shoot with this camera, and I love the footage that comes out of it. So, I hope this has been helpful, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.